Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov takes place this weekend in the main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 30, Gane versus Volkov, and I can't wait for this heavyweight main event. I've been looking forward to this one for a very long time. Two top 5 heavyweight contenders, both on win streaks right now. Ciryl Gane completely undefeated. Bongamin versus Drago. Both guys looking really good recently as well, and both guys are going to call for a title shot if they do win this bout this weekend. However, they're not going to get the title shot because heavyweight right now is a complete logjam. You've got Derek Lewis waiting for his title shot against Francis Ngannou. You've got Stipe Miocic waiting for his title shot against Francis Ngannou. You've got John Jones, who could enter at any time over the next year and ruin anyone's plan of getting a title shot as a contender in the heavyweight division. Gane versus Volkov, great matchup. Both guys looking really good recently. Ciryl Gane just improves every single time we see him, and Alexander Volkov has recently become a real threat in the heavyweight division. He's looked amazing in his last 2 bouts. Alistair Overeem got completely destroyed, start to finish. It wasn't even a contest. Walt Harris as well suffered the same fate, completely destroyed, start to finish. Wasn't even a contest. Again, a second round finish for Alexander Volkov, and I think the main reason why Alexander Volkov is now looking better than ever is because he's actually a massive heavyweight now. Before, Alexander Volkov was a former light heavyweight, moving into the heavyweight division. Maybe he was still a big guy because, of course, he is 6'7", and he's massive, and he is Drago himself. However, recently, he's really built himself into a massive heavyweight, and he is just so intimidating in there, and you can just see it on all of these fighters' faces. Walt Harris, Alistair Overeem, they don't want to be in the cage with this man. I believe that Ciryl Gane is going to beat Alexander Volkov. It's going to be a huge test, and if Ciryl Gane does beat Alexander Volkov, and does it by finish, or does it impressively, we got ourselves a real dangerous threat for a guy like Francis Ngannou with the belt, because there ain't many threats to Ngannou right now in the heavyweight division. There are some, don't get me wrong, but if Ciryl Gane really does put on a great performance here this weekend, which I believe he's going to, but I think it's going to be reasonably competitive, if he goes out there and KOs Alexander Volkov in the first round and shows some ridiculous power, if I was Ngannou, I would be terrified of Ciryl Gane. He is such a breath of fresh air in the heavyweight division. You do not see heavyweights bounce around on their toes and touch people up and just move and feint and tap at the legs and then go to the body and then go to the head. And then there's just so many different techniques that Ciryl Gane uses in the heavyweight division. And to me, it's just such a nice feeling knowing that after all of these years, we finally have a new wave of talent in the heavyweight division. I feel like Tom Aspinall falls under this sort of category of fighter as well. On their toes, moving around, throwing a bunch of feints, and just doing things very, very technically well for a heavyweight. Ciryl Gane is an amazing fighter. He had a great performance against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I know people blame it on Rozenstruik not wanting to do anything, but then again, you could argue that Overeem really didn't want to do anything against Alexander Volkov. You could argue that Walt Harris maybe didn't really want to do anything against Alexander Volkov. I feel like it's so easy to just blame the loser of those bouts for not looking too good, when you could just look at the fact that, oh, it's probably because they're in the cage with Ciryl Gane, or it's probably because they're in the cage with Alexander Volkov. Let's not forget what Ciryl Gane did to Junior Dos Santos. He completely toyed with him start to finish and put him away in the second round. Again, great stuff from Ciryl Gane so far in his career. He's got submissions over Rafael Pessoa. He's got another submission in his career over Dontel Mays by heel hook. I'm spitting. I think I just launched a bit of spit towards the camera just then. This video's in 3D. That's how excited I am. Looking forward to this one so much. Amazing bout. I feel like Ciryl Gane's got this one in the bag, man. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people are going with Drago here. I've been going with Ciryl Gane since I saw him debut. He has taken on nothing but monsters throughout his entire career. You can go to his regional fights. He went straight in the deep end with the best prospects from each area of the world in the heavyweight division, and he completely destroyed them. Then he got into the UFC nice and early. I believe he was something like 4-0. Now he's 9-0, looking to go 10-0. I'm really looking forward to Ciryl Gane putting on a clinic on Alexander Volkov. Don't get me wrong, Volkov's going to be a dangerous test. A really, really, really dangerous test. I can't emphasize that enough. Volkov is a savage right now, and since he has become Swolkov and doubled in size, he is a real intimidating threat. But I believe Ciryl Gane, moving around on his feet, is going to be something that Alexander Volkov has never faced before in his career. And when you're the guy moving around on the outside, everyone's the stationary target to you. For Alexander Volkov, the reason he beat Alistair Overeem was because Alistair Overeem stood in front of him, dead still, plodded forward like all of these other heavyweights do, touching at his hands and just getting lit up the entire time. And then whenever Alexander Volkov came forward on Alistair Overeem, what did Overeem do? Shell up against the cage. Exactly what Walt Harris did. Scoot around, try a couple of big flurries. Other than that, plod forwards, just moving around real slow steps like all the heavyweights do. It's so frustrating to watch, and I never really noticed the contrast until Ciryl Gane joined the heavyweight division and showed us all how it was done. I didn't think big guys could move like that, in all honesty, until I saw Ciryl Gane, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do this weekend. I think the leg kicks are going to be a huge factor in this fight. I think Ciryl Gane's inside leg kick is so nasty. Alexander Volkov has got really, really long legs, really, really long, meaty thighs that are right there to be kicked at non-stop. I know he's got good kicks himself, but I do believe that Ciryl Gane is going to chew up that leg, throw the front leg side kick as well, and try and hyperextend that knee. A nice, big, tall opponent is really good to chop at leg kicks with. Ciryl Gane does that very well. And I just think moving around in general and being a non-stationary target is going to lead to Alexander Volkov missing a lot of shots, not really getting what he wants from certain exchanges, because Alexander Volkov, he plods you down, you eventually stay still enough for him to hit you, and then he hits you with a barrage, or he hits you with a front kick to the body, or something like that, and then you go down. If we really think about things, Walt Harris was completely gassed out in that second round, and that sort of led to the finish from Alexander Volkov. In the Overeem fight, Overeem's kind of done, and he just shelled up the entire time and stayed in front of Volkov and did nothing. I think Ciryl Gane's going to be sticking and moving, jabbing to the body, front kicking to the body, leg kicking, and I think it's just going to eventually break down Alexander Volkov. And something that needs to be mentioned is this. Usually an up-and-coming contender in Ciryl Gane doesn't really go 5 rounds, especially in the heavyweight division. Even if you're booked for a main event, you'll end up getting it done in the first 2 minutes. I mean, Alexander Volkov has been a main event against Alistair Overeem. That one got done really quickly. He didn't get to go 5 rounds there, but he's been 5 rounds before. He's been into the later rounds with Fabricio Verdum and finished him in the later rounds as well. That was when he was a little bit smaller. Spitting again. Either way, Alexander Volkov has packed on a lot of size recently. I just watched the current version of Ciryl Gane go 5 rounds against Rosenstruik relatively easily. I know it was a bit of a slow pace. Either way, he went 5 rounds as a heavyweight and was still bouncing around on his toes in round 5. Showed no sign of exhaustion whatsoever, and didn't really show any sign of exhaustion whenever he had a 3-round bout like he did against Tanabosa. 3 hard rounds, no signs of slowing down whatsoever. Finished Dontel Mays at the end of the 3rd round just because he felt like it. In all honesty, that's what it seemed like when he went for that heel hook. I like this one, but I think Alexander Volkov, with all of this massive bulk of mass that he's really put on recently, I think once Gane starts chopping at his legs, I don't see that massive version of Volkov going 5 rounds the way he used to. And it's already noticeable that he is a little bit ploddier, he is a little bit slower, maybe he has gained some power and some imposure in the cage, but if you can't catch Gane early, which I don't think Volkov's going to be able to do. I think if Volkov wants to win, he's going to have to break down Ciryl Gane, slow down the movement, have a wounded and hurt Ciryl Gane in front of him, and then go for the finish and maybe get it done that way. I don't see Volkov catching Ciryl Gane and putting him away. So I don't see it happening in the first 2 rounds. This bigger version of Volkov, I don't think he's going to go 5 rounds too well. He's a massive man. And I think he's going to get danced around, made a fool out of, maybe land a lot of good shots, who knows, so maybe he won't be made a fool out of. He'll probably land some good combinations here and there, some good counter shots. Volkov's actually really good in the pocket for a guy who's usually supposed to be at range. He's got really good combinations, lands a lot of shots around guards. Gane doesn't really use a guard. You know what Gane does instead of using a guard at heavyweight, which you should never do because no one's trying to block shots at heavyweight. They're going to KO you anyway. You know what Gane does? Instead of using a guard, he moves his fucking feet and he gets the fuck out of there if he's in danger. If Volkov has him hedged up against the cage, And Gane is stuck against the cage against Alexander Volkov. Where Overeem did this, Gane will move. He will shimmy his legs, he will find the center of the cage, and he'll go right back to feinting around, touching at the legs, touching at the body. Plus, he's got a reach advantage as a shorter opponent, which is a huge deal here. 81 inches to 80 inches. He's a much shorter guy. It's hard to find your way on the inside of boxing range against a guy who's got longer reach than you, that's shorter. We've seen this with Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski. That's where Volkanovski was beating Holloway in the boxing exchanges. Holloway tries to find his way on the inside against a shorter opponent. Volko tags him over the top with some big overhands. I'm going with Ciryl Gane. Winner of this one gets Stipe Miocic. They're going to call for a title shot. I don't think they're going to get a title shot. I think they're going to get Stipe Miocic. And honestly, Stipe Miocic, you don't get that many title rematches, man. You've only fought for belts over the past 5 years, it feels like. So let's just have you do one contender matchup in the meantime so we can keep this division moving. I don't want to see the winner of this one go back against maybe the winner of Rosenstruik Blades, because what if it's Rosenstruik and Gane all over again? I don't need to see that one a second time, in all honesty. I think the winner of this one should get Stipe Miocic in a heavyweight title elimination bout. Miocic can test out his new weight against a new contender before he goes in there against Ngannou, and also the winner of this one can get a good name in Miocic on their resume before they fight for the belt. I think it's an amazing idea. I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane 4-1 unanimous decision. I think he might lose a round, maybe round 2 or 3 or 1. One of those early 3 rounds I think he may be able to give up. But in the other rounds, especially in the later 2 rounds, I think Ciryl Gane, if he makes it to those rounds, will win them. And I think he'll get this one done 50-45, 49-46, 50-45, judges' scorecards. Gane gets it done. He's just too elusive, too good on the feet. Maybe he's got a weird chin. We'll find that out. This is what the test is for. I believe he's going to pass the test with flying colours once again. Even if you didn't like his last matchup and didn't like the way he went 5 rounds before, he's a young guy for the heavyweight division, not in general. Young guy in his MMA career. He's still making so much improvements. Think how long ago it was when Alexander Volkov had like 9 fights. He's got about 30, which is an experience advantage. So fair play. He does have that in his favour. But how long ago was it that Volkov had 9 fights? Imagine the differences he was making in his game then. That's what Gane is doing right now. He might come through a different guy. I know what Volkov's going to show up. I don't know what Gane's going to show up. He fought a while ago. He didn't take any damage. He got right back into training. He's not making great money yet, so he's still going to be hungry. I'm going with Ciryl Gane. I think he just dances around Volkov and outpoints him every round with amazing technique. Really looking forward to the heavyweight division in the future. Ciryl Gane, Tom Aspinall, any other guys coming up that really show great technique. Not really at the moment, but I'm sure there'll be some ones coming up soon. There's great guys. Oh, Chris Daukaus, of course, someone mentioned before. Chris Daukaus, he's a little bit of a smaller guy, but still, he's got great technique for a heavyweight. I'm looking forward to the new wave, and I think Ciryl Gane's going to kick the door down by beating Alexander Volkov. Nothing against Volkov. I picked him before. I've actually got an undefeated ratio with both of these guys. So there's more on the line than just a title shot or a title elimination bout for the winner. There is Guru's prediction rate for both of these men on the line. I don't think I've ever incorrectly picked a Ciryl Gane fight or an Alexander Volkov fight as long as I've been making predictions. So I think I'm doing pretty good. And I think I'll continue to do good by picking Ciryl Gane this weekend. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. Yes, I have a spot right there. Goodbye. Fuck off.